All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday. It's our 30 minutes. And this 30 minutes, I want to talk to you about selecting a accounting firm. You notice that I didn't use CPA firm. A lot of times folks will say, oh, CPA firm, CPA firm. Accounting firms are not CPA firms, but they're sort of related. So I want to explain that to you so you can make a knowledgeable and right decision on what you choose from. And whether it is a CPA firms or accounting firms, payroll firms, tax firms, they are all sort of in this area, right? And you have a business and you want to figure out where do you give your books to so the people can do the best job for you. Where do you give your taxes to so they can do a proper tax filing for you? So the desire is pay as little as possible, but get as much as possible, just like everything else we do in life, right? We know how to go to a Walmart to look at one thing that costs 99 cents a pound, and we also know how to go to Whole Food to realize that it looks like it's the same thing, but Whole Food was charging $2.99 a pound, so we judge that on the product, decide on the price. Okay, cheaper, too expensive, so we make our decision at that time what to buy. So that's just such a normal human behavior, you and me, and we're humans, so we do those kind of decisions. But in terms of professional service, I do believe that a good understanding of the firm structure and how they become, it would help you to make that right decision. So let's go about looking at our firm. And this screen you have right here is actually from our website, communitycpa.com. That's our website. On our website, you can find the appointment button is right on the top on your right. And when you click that button, you will see these partners. And so you can tell all of our expertise areas. So we all work on different areas. And this is what I call the multiple channels, right? So when your firm grow into a certain size and no one person can know everything. Yes, you're right. I do not know everything, but obviously I have grown the firm from one person, one client, all the way to today, 40 professional, 12,000 clients, and that is a big difference. So I do have to say that I don't know everything for every corner of our practice, but we have these partners who are here. They do know. So this is what I call the multiple channel services in a CPA firm. You can also see we have our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is literally a reflection of what we have done online. Today, you may not have time at 3 p.m., but you really do want to know how to choose a CPA firm, so you have it here. And you can come over to search on this magnifying glasses. This is where you can put in any words to find out the related videos that we have. We have more than 1,000 videos. I would say 1,300 videos. And we have a lot of subscribers. And we encourage you to subscribe to our channel because you will get a useful topic. And we're not entertainers, which I very much want to be one, but I really don't have the skill set. But our videos is very much knowledge-based. So you get something out of every time you hear from us. So let's go about looking into what I can bring to you today. Give me a second to share the screen with you, to share our PowerPoint. Accounting firms, find your best fit. And accounting firms, let me explain to you, not all the accounting firms are CPA firms, right? CPA firms are regulated by the CPA trade conduct. So just like every profession, you would have a association, trade association that would govern this type of practice. So we call them uniform professional conduct, and we follow. So as a CPA firm, you have these regulations But as other CPA, as other accounting firms, for example, if you go to Liberty Tax and they're not a CPA firm, right? They are a franchised, privately owned company who are specialized in filing taxes. So they go by the rules related to IRS regulation. IRS tried to put in regulations to regulate the preparers, and so those efforts were not successful. But at the state level, different state giving certain requirements. For example, in Iowa, it requires the tax people, like Liberty Tax or whatever tax they may be, and to have a 15 tax study credit to be on the street preparing taxes, right? So those regulations are different from whether you call yourself a CPA firm or not. But I would say that if it is a CPA firm practicing on the street, they do have the highest regulatory requirement and the license requirement for individual, for companies that you are looking into. So when you have issues, there's always a judgmental bodies out there to help to make the matter right or wrong and whatever you do, right? So those are a general understanding, so don't confuse with firms. So I can call myself mighty accounting firms, but I'm not a CPA firm. I can call myself the do it all right tax preparation company, but I'm not a CPA firm. So it can be different because of how they are being held out to practice. So with that said, and I want to lead you to understand the different kind of firms that is out there to perform accounting, payroll, tax, and audit related services, right? So let's just go for that. And this is a slide we always have in front of all our slides to kind of introduce ourselves to you. And you see that on the screen. And this is the 2 books I have already written and published. Is on Amazon, and I am working on the 3rd one, which is the 2 p.m. My 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. just signifies the growth of the business. And you start, you grow, you expand, and you retire. So maybe I call that repurpose, right? So you repurpose your life at 6 p.m. I'm working on the 3rd one, but this 2 already on the market. No responsibility disclaimer. It is so important for us because, knowledge do expire. So I actually do have an incident where someone wrote to me saying that I was telling people wrong things. And I looked at my webinars. I realized that this particular person was referencing to something. At that time, it was right. But later on, the rules, regulation changed. So it didn't really... it was not right. So the reality is what's not right, but it was not right at the time. It was not right after things were changed. And we did not go back to delete all of our things that is not fitting the time. So you want to just look at the time stamp, right? To know that the information you're getting is timely. When you go on to internet, Google things on yourself, and to pay attention to time. You can't dig up, news that is long ago to trying to digest right now. That wouldn't be smart things to do. Okay, let's understand the firms. There's 4 levels of the firms that I summarized, and I put in the 5 because I was summarizing that up to be 5. Then I combined the specialty firms into 1. So let me explain to you what is the specialty firms. Specialty firms are companies come out for one type of service in the whole finance accounting industry. An example would be ADP for payroll, and Checkpoint for payroll, Liberty Tax for taxes, right? And also sometimes you hear people talking about, we are ERC firms. We do specialty in ERC. So specialty firms are the firms taking one subject of accounting, tax, and in this finance area, and making it a streamlined and special activities. So they don't really normally go into other areas. They want to be expert in just that area. In today's world, when you trying to say that I'm expert in this area, what people also says is that they are using AI and the technology to make things more streamlined. For example, and if you go to a specialty firm to do your payroll, for example, in ADP, have you ever had someone that you could say that, let me write down my workers, my employees' time. Oh, this employee and just got married, the last name changed. Let me write that for you in the piece of paper. I send it to you because I am so burdened with technology and I don't know how to go onto portal, and that service doesn't exist, right? So with those what we call them wholesale payroll services, these are very predominantly out there. They take up a lot of market for payroll because they are wholesalers. They offer you a cheaper price, hopefully, which I don't know whether their price is cheaper or not, but they offer you a competitive price, and they automate a lot of things to reduce the cost and be able to offer you that competitive price. But the automation requires everybody marching on the same path, right? So you're all gonna log in at the same time and put in your hours and send it up. And if you have anything changed, it's too late because the process is done. Or you have to correct it in the next run. Or you call the 1-800 number and hold for a couple of hours before someone comes in. So there's a lot of industrial work is in there. It is trying to treat a service like a product. Nothing wrong. I think these are genius. These people are genius. They know how to make people like a robot. So we can do things faster and more standardized and less miscommunication. So nothing wrong with that. But just realize that these are specialty firms and they offer competitive price, but they also do not have personalized service. So a lot of times what we find out is that when we, at our firm, we do these planning things for folks. For example, at the year end comes and we say that the business owner is making so much money, we need to increase their payroll so they can do deferrals. And just that action alone becomes so painful for the wholesaler payroll company because they don't have a protocol to really take over that and run smoothly. It is either too late, or we don't know, the business owner don't know how to set it up in the portal to get that run. So that causes a lot of hiccups and the things that happens with the specialty firms, and you just don't really know exactly how to fulfill their mechanical requirement so things can run smoothly. So these specialty firms also include those tax preparation firms, right? Like HR Block. And they open during the tax season, and then after tax season they all close. Only 1 or 2 location is open. So you go from the actual places that you went to another place for anything troubleshooting. In fact, I actually knew that HR Block does open after tax season. If you have problems, you go, but you won't see your people anymore. It will be someone else who serves you, right? So those are specialty firms. They have a way to get their business done properly, as long as you know what they're doing, as long as you understand where they're going and how much you can get out of that service. It is always good that you can, beat the market price and get into a lower service fees. Obviously, as a business owner, who doesn't want to pay less in cost, right? Understandable. Then the other level of accounting services, they may not be a CPA firm at all, and they can call themselves ABC accounting firm. So those kind of firms, a lot of times they are for startups and basic accounting services. They meant to have it repetitive. They meant to service you without huge events and without you going on the public trading floors and going through IPO service, right? So these are really our small business. A lot of our small business under $10 million sales are there. And the typical character is that when you go to these kind of startup and a basic accounting service firm, you always find yourself to work with one person, because that is how the structure would allow. So with that, their fee can be lower, and that one professional staff would serve you from head to toe. So you are obviously limited to the knowledge of that one person. If that one person is me, to service a client from head to toe, I can do a decent job just because I have experience, right? But am I going to do an excellent job? And maybe not, because depends on which area you are going. Like I said, if you decide to become a public company, or you even do a fundraising, crowdfunding, funding, and also maybe you want to just do private placement, all of a sudden you need to get audit done. And the reality is that you can't even get your audit done if you are with me, if I am the one doing your accounting service and doing your bank reconciliation, writing checks for your vendors. Those are the things just cannot, within this professional field, and those kind of responsibility, service scope do not cross each other. And you cannot be an auditor auditing a firm, auditing a business while you're doing their accounting. That just doesn't, is water and oil would never mix. So with that said, you could end up with a firm that one person services you very comfortable, things are going good and things are going right, and that would be your startup basic accounting service firms. Those firms do not need to be a CPA firm. They can just be a firm, and you can just start up accounting firms at home and like that. So there's a lot of startup individuals who just start taking on the client, began a business. I want to say that in the professional service area, to begin a firm for professional service is much easier than setting up a manufacturer. But to grow it to be a size that you can serve bigger business, or you can grow into the larger clientele to service, that not many. A lot of small firms are kind of stuck at the models they have, and they treasure the relationship one-on-one to client. Nothing wrong with that. So they kind of prevented themselves from going to be bigger. Nothing wrong. We want a lot of small accounting firms to exist, because they are the one really catching on the clients that didn't really want to grow, and they don't want to do anything different. They just want to have their life and make some money, and the life is going easy. And in our lifetime, and depends on what age group we're in and how old our kids are, we have different lifestyles, right? And now I can work 24/7 myself. That's because my kids are bigger, right? When the kids were little, I didn't work 24/7. I did try, but wasn't very successful, and I need my mother-in-law to come in to help me to do a little bit more work. So with that said, it's not a right or wrong. It is really the need of the market. If you can get a hold of a CPA firm or accounting firm that you like that one person to serve you, and from head to toe, do it. Because that is how you can stabilize your business and thinking of something else in the future. And the growth-focused CPA firms are the firms serving bigger business. And we want to, I want to kind of give you a benchmark. I know it's so fluid, right? Nobody really have the golden definition that the whole society, the whole world agrees. But in my, within my professional experience, and growth-focused CPA firms are the one with more than 25 professionals. Because the reason I say that, because they had the ability to actually channel individuals, professionals into different service area. And they can develop depth of the understanding. So if we, for example, in our firm and during the pandemic time, we actually have individuals who does nothing else but focus on governmental programs because we need to study it. And we have to study it, understanding it to the practice. It's not like we can Google something, the guideline just come. The law is law and someone has to study, interpret that, and quickly, so the client can benefit it quickly. And you remember those years, and if you are slow, your client gonna miss the benefit. So with that said, and we develop areas individual will focus on going deeper to in order to serve client better, right? So those are the growth focused CPA firms because not only they are growing, their clients are also going to grow just based on what kind of specialty they can bring to them. Another example would be that we have a client and worked with us, a startup basic accounting service firms. But when they come to us, we realize that this firm is actually very heavy in R&D, research and development. There is R&D credit. The firm was never claimed, but they should have it. So with those kind of situation, if you don't end up in a firm that has these kind of skill sets, how could anybody would come to tell you that? If your person who serves you doesn't understand the cost segregations, don't know about depreciations, how would they take advantage of your purchase and write them down as expense for you? They won't. They're going to plug in 39 years, 27 years on your purchase, and then you're going to be deducting small amount every year for the next 30-some years here, and you're paying taxes every year because you got too much taxes to pay, nothing to deduct. The worst part is you already spent all your money to buy your properties. Now what? You don't have money to pay taxes? This is the clients who come to us, goes that I need your help to loan some money because I have a lot of tax bills to pay. Oh, really? I mean, that is normally represents the service, professional service is not really at home. It is actually mismatched. You mismatched yourself with a firm that may not have that knowledge for you. So you are growing, right? I'm not saying that you're just not intelligent enough to choose a firm, and you are not really looking after your business like your children. You know that if you have a 12 years old, you don't send the child to kindergarten. You know that. Why? Because our society has been so good about telling people if this age is 7, the kids should go to the first grade. If the kid is 12, they need to go to middle school. So we knew that, right? Because you stamp the child with their age and you know when to send them to work. But your business is different. We couldn't really name the actual age of your business because you could be growing from age 0 to age 100. God knows you can grow your business so fast, right? With that said, it is really you as a parent of this business. You're the owner of the business. You really need to assess the age of your business all the time. Some business takes time to grow up. Some business just happens very fast. They grow from kindergarten all the way to university level. Then your service is the same thing. You're going to be looking at your CPA firms or your accounting firm to questioning yourself, is my children is in the right education institution? You may say, no, it's not. Oh, I'm just so sensitive with money and I cannot move them out. I like to pay very little to get the most professional service. That just doesn't happen. It will not happen. And I have never seen it happen unless it is the person who does that themselves, growing things within the firm and then be able to, that owner knows a lot of things, right? So the last one I want to mention to you is compliance-focused CPA firms. Those are Big Fours. These are 100 employees and above. Those CPA firms are not just focused on the startup basic accounting services. They're not just focused on growing your business. They are focused on compliance your business, making sure that your business grow, but also grow with rules and regulations are properly in place. So you're not going to have a setback and being penalized for some 20-some millions like those big four would be doing, right? So those are compliance-focused CPA firm. They help clients to stay at the forefront of compliance requirement, at the same time grow with opportunities or finding opportunities for them to grow. A lot of those clients are public traded companies, and also a lot of those are maybe complex partnership, and also with the private placement service. When you have so many shareholders, you literally need a CPA firm that is compliance focused. So with these four right in front of you folks, and I want to lead you to understand a little more of the style of the service. I covered some already, but this is where you want to understand right now the CPA firm you are with or the accounting firm you are with, where are they? Are they startup kind of firms or growth-focused firms, compliance-focused firms, or they're specialty firms, right? All of them are good. I can find good ones for you in each of these categories, but again, good ones doesn't mean it's yours. It doesn't mean it fit you. So you still need to be the one placing your child in the right school. Okay, depot service versus customized service. In professional field, you know the difference. When you dial 1-800 number, you are approaching depot service. So those services are meant to be customizing you into a number. So their measurement of performance inside of that depot professional service firms, they're measuring by how many calls are coming in, how many are turned into a project. So they're really focused on large quantity of people who does same thing at the same time. Like these ADP and paycheck companies, yeah, you just go to their portal, you type into your hours, your people's name, you upload their W-4s, and you fill in all the blanks. So, if there's any calculation error in payroll, it's 100% yours because you're the one and fit into everything. But what if you are the business owners just doesn't know? Example, we have business owners who are under L1 visa. And, so he was not sure whether his W-4 should be the same thing. So with that question, and he decided to eliminating the FICA tax on him because he thinks he's a foreigner. And so he put in the wrong information on the W-4. Then the payroll came out to be wrong. And it was only discovered a year later when he got his W-2 because he set it up in the very beginning. But why is he not really just pick up the phone to ask and so to get answered? The reality is that I won't name the payroll company, and this client actually did called so many times, finally get hold of someone, has no idea about visa. So give the wrong information. So those are the depot service, right? You have to be ordinary. You have to be normal. If you got a horn on your head and then maybe you don't fit into that human group. So just make sure that you understand what means depot service. Not just a 1-800 number, quick service, standardized process. If you can do just that, and you pay a smaller fees for that, great. And I would rather you not have the horn and do exactly the same thing and so get work done, right? So those are, the special people would fit into that. Customized service are more related to the people you work with, whether you're working with accounting firm that for startups or you're working with growth-focused CPA firms or even compliant CPA firms, you are asking for customer service. customized service, which is you have questions, you call the person, whether it is one person, it is your contact, or several people as a team is your contact. You have a real person to talk to, am I right? It's not a 1-800 number. It's not throwing you off. You can even go to their locations to ask. So those are different services that in professional area, professional field that you need to understand. So it is a lot easier to do product on the depot, like Home Depot, right? Office Depot. Those are the kind of model of retailing they're doing because it has a lot and it is a lower price, right? That is a definition for us going into depot and to buy things. But that is product. And on the service side, depot service versus customized service means very different things. And if you ask me, you say, well, Ying, what should I do? Should I do depot service or customized service? This is like you're asking your grandma, how do I want to bring up my child? How could you rely on the generation before you to bring up your child, right? So you are the one decide what the child's education gonna be, whether you have the need or not. So just don't give that job to somebody else. It's your job as a small business owner. You know what you want to do. You can decide on whether you're a good fit for depot service or you are someone that need customized service. So my other things I want to make it clear for folks, when you choose service, you want to consciously understand the single channel service versus multiple channel services. And you will not be working with the medium and large CPA firms or accounting firms. I actually don't really know any accounting firms, not a CPA firm that's large. So that's why I keep on saying the CPA firms. So when you are able, as a business owner, when you go into a CPA firms and they say that this person is your single channel contact, and everything will be resolved by this person, and there is no other people involved, a one-on-one relationship. And that is a model. That model suggests the company is in the second category that I gave you, is the startup basic accounting service firms. If you are a business that really grown, you have a lot of new things coming up, and to really have one person be the one to you, it is difficult. It is not impossible. I mean, everything has exceptions, right? So I'm not making it absolutely impossible, but a lot of times you'll find a team of people working with you instead of one. So that is what we call the multiple channels. And from our community CPA standpoint, our firm, we did not buy someone to become who we are. We literally grew ourselves from one client, one person, which was me at the time, to today, right? So if I still operating as myself with one client, two clients, or even 600 clients, if I do that, then it's limited to the knowledge I have. So I may have a lot of knowledges, but still it is limited to what my brain can take, right? But if you have multiple channel of services, there's experts in every area. And I'll give you an example. We have a new restaurant coming over to us, and they are a multi-million-dollar restaurant operated in the East Coast. And the accounting firm they had for them did not understand delivery services. So what they did is they took all the delivery services as a taxable sales, charged them sales tax. And actually, a lot of those delivery services are required to collect sales tax submitted for the client. So when you got money into the business owner's bank account, you cannot count that as a sales taxable again. So our client, this particular client, had done double sales tax payment to the state for multiple years, counting from 2020. So this is where I say, if you just work with one person, if that person don't have the knowledge, they don't know where to serve you. It's not that person is no good. That person is good. They probably have a gold heart for you and have everything for you and wanting to do the best of the world for you, but it's not enough. You're running a business, and this person didn't know. Those delivery company, they're required to collect sales tax. You should not be paying your 7% again. So with that, we go back to the state, make a case, getting money back for the client. So this is where the multiple channel services come in. And in our firm, we have people specialized in sales tax. Not that every sales tax is complicated, but sales tax is also a growing matter. Every state can make changes. Every county can make changes to the sales tax. Do you know that it never stayed the same? I know you may say, oh, yeah, it stayed the same because I have lived here. I knew that it's the same. From our standpoint, when you look at all these businesses, and there's here and there, everywhere, there will be opportunity for the sales tax rate to change. So those are the things. I'm just giving you an example. So you realize that multiple channel services are needed when you are at certain size. And the single channel services, great, you grow that relationship, but it is nothing wrong for a business owner to know that my kids are old enough that to go to elementary school now, so I'm leaving kindergarten. So it is not unheard of for business to move from one company to another. I have business moved out of our firm. I'm still very sad because they moved to KPMG. One of them moved to McLeod, Poland, and I don't know at what time and community CPA would become one of those, so I don't see my client moving out to another level of CPA firms. Obviously, we're not there, but we are trying. We are learning every day as we speak, and hopefully one day you'll see our firm just like KPMG, McLeod, Poland, and we can be the one that compliance focused at the same time with all the services we have accumulated from the past. Right? All right. So my last difference I want to mention to you is the stationary service versus growing focus service. This is a mindset difference. Sometimes when you work with your accountant, whether it's from a accounting firm or CPA firm, and this person is status quo and is always doing the same thing, never late, and really good, and that is a stationary service because they have a template, so they just do what they told to do. Not really much of a difference from a advanced AI robot. And I know AI technology is not there yet, but it will be there. It will replace a lot of stationary service, and that we're talking about here. And a growing focus service is more of a person that involved in your business and see the opportunity that you can grow. And have we done that? Have I done that in the past? Absolutely. Sometimes I can see a business, if they just veer towards to one other direction, they would really grow. And a really good example I have is that one of the restaurant owner came back and told me that they're doing really good business, but somehow they don't make it. They're just having a lot of labor cost and stuff, and they just don't make it. So I look at the sales, I look at the square footage of the, I didn't really visit their place. I was just looking at the square footage, and I was a little puzzled because it doesn't feel like they need that many employee, but their employee was over the ratios that normally we see in the restaurant. So I went to the place, to meet with the owner one time. What I noticed is that their structure of kitchen was really off because they rent the place. The kitchen was in the way back. The service counter was like, was quite maybe about 9 feet away from the service counter. So the person who serviced was literally can be on rollerblade to go over back and forth. Of course they're not, but I was thinking that if they're on those rollerblades, they could go a little faster. But the true issue is that they should change the structure. So I knew to change the kitchen or to move the counter behind, expand the area, how much would that be? So I calculate that to be about $35,000. And then I calculated about their payroll. So I told the owner that if you make this change, you put in the 35,000 in 1 year, you get it back because you would have 2 less people in the restaurant permanently. You don't need those 2 people because they're just running back and forth between your kitchen and your customer. And with that said, and that was done. And not within a year, within 8 months, that money is already come back. So with that saying, you need a growing focused person in your, on your team to grow your business with you, right? So this is where I want you to consciously realize. So this is also, people talk about advisory. Oh, I want advice from you. Or our, other CPA firm will say, we provide advisory service. What are they talking about? They are actually talking about, we will put on a special glasses and we're going to look at your business and give you advice. Of course, the longer they work in the industry, the more clients they have, their advices to you will be more quoted with gold, right? In the end, it's just gold because they know how other people run. They can give you advice without naming any other clients. It's just their knowledge. And that is something, when you look into the partners, that's what we provide. So I'm not saying that the older the better, but if the firm has a senior partners, that generally means the experience accumulation is greater than the firms that don't have senior partners, right? So that is how I want to put that concept in your mind. So when you choose a firm, you can make that determination. Shop for the cheapest. Of course, shop for the cheapest. But what cheap means in professional service industry, like a CPA firm, just means that they hire cheaper labor. It is possible to hire cheaper labor. You know that, right? If someone goes to India to hire labor, that's a cheaper labor. And so really, and what do you want that to be? And at our firm, the only concern I have with hiring cheaper labor overseas is the regulatory requirement on the data safety. And if your data went out in India or in China, wherever you or in Philippines, and do you really have the legal means to control that leak? Maybe not. And that is the concern. If the regulatory and the legal environment is not the same, it is really difficult to trust. And those cheaper labor is really for the benefit of our clients or is for the benefit of the owner. So I have question for that, so we don't do that at our firm. And every person who works in our firm, it works in our firm. Whether they're in Minnesota or in Texas or in Iowa, they're in the firm. So hire cheaper labor is one way to be cheap. And they also can adopt AI to work the work. So I'm not saying that the cheap ones has to be not worth it. No, there may be a bigger firm. They have such a strong AI technology. They can offer you cheaper price because it's AI controls that, right? And we look into that all the time. And we're developing technology every day, because we want to also offer you a cheaper price, but with technology that we can supervise and control, right? So being cheap in the professional firm only means the labor is cheap or your IT is advanced. That's the only way. There's no other ways to be cheaper, not like product, right? The product can be cheaper just because it's overstocked. So they need to sell their inventory or they expire. So even if they sell at a lower price, they still sell. But in the professional industry, can you really squeeze a person so that not paying the person and you're going to work the whole time? It doesn't happen. You lose that person, right? So with that said, we know that treating humans is different than treating product. Cheaper is a relative term solely based on the payer's perspective as well. And if you have not opened up your yourself to know other people's pricing, you might just come through cheaper. And in my experience, I have people come to me say, oh, you are expensive. I equally have people come to me say, Ying, you work so hard, it is too cheap. You didn't charge enough. So, with that said, if I have 12,000 clients, you can see that it's become a moot point, right? Who do you listen to? So you just focus on how you're going to pay your staff, how you're going to run your business. It's a business call. Cheaper price in most of the cases with professional firms represents the intelligence level of the existing professionals at that level. If you go to KPMG, they're not cheap, right? Because the intelligence level of existing professionals at KPMG is at a different level than the other CPA firms or accounting firms. So these people, they're at a different level, so they're charging different rate. But in reality, the higher price generally speaking, represents the intelligence level and experience. Shop for the best fit. Okay, let's just say you shop for the best fit. How do you do that? Just like selecting daycare for your children, right? Depends on the age, the culture, the needs, the location of your home. You would select daycare accordingly. So never worry about changing firms. Never. But you want to change it strategically, knowing that you want to do that now because the following reasons. How to look for suitable and better firms. Look at the history of the firm. Do a simple Googling, right? And the technology advance in the operation. Understand what they use. Do they offer you a portal? And when they send you information, do they have password to protect the files? And what do they have to keep you comfortable and to keep their answer to you timely, right? Look at the leadership team. Do they like you? Do they mirror you? Are they at the same age group as you or they're older than you? Right? Those are decision-making points. The culture of the firm is very important. Sometimes when you walk into the firm, you know exactly what the culture is. So do that walkthrough. Just come into the firm, right? If you cannot, in today's world, there's so much video conference. We have so many, our remote clients just grow so much. And, I can never say that, oh, come to my office. They're not in the place where we have a branch, so they can't come to the office. But video conference in our firm, we require, when we meet client the first time, we require client to be on video conference. And we require ourselves to show ourselves on the video. So to give as much as of the eye contact, the person-to-person experience as possible. Not exactly the same, of course not. And we cannot lead the client walking through our office. It's not like that. But just use those information available to make a judgment. You can talk to the partner and you can talk to the firm representative to see whether that is the fit. Okay, location might not be a matter anymore, but a lot of times it is a matter. And some of the clients we don't have a location there. I actually, just based on the work we do for them, sometimes require me or other partners to go. And we actually take that seriously because some of the work, you just want to do it online is not possible. You want to go to see it, to feel it, and then make that decision. So with that said, I want to conclude our today's webinar. And this is the partner list again. I want to show you again. And so you see what we are, what each one of us is focused on. And if you have anything you like to talk about, and the email Catherine@communitycpa.com, and she'll be there for you. And we are 6 days a week CPA firm. So we are a firm that opens 6 days a week for the convenience of our business owners. And I will talk to you again on Saturday. Bye-bye.